So what I'm going to do next is start to set up a folder system just because I'm going to be making and grabbing textures and really bringing them where I want to. So I'm going to go into my starter content and I'm going to create a material. I'm going to go into materials. We're going to materials here, and this is where I'm going to be creating new textures and creating new materials to be able to paint on our landscape. So to do this, and this is, we're going to get a little bit into the material, but let me just set this up before we jump into the material. So the first thing I'm going to do is inside of my material starter content materials, I'm going to go ahead and make a new material, wherever that is. There it is. And I'll just name that landscape blends. Oop. And just make sure you're using underscores. Unreal does not allow anything that doesn't have underscores. We'll call it paints. There we go. So I'm going to move into the next part of this, which is creating these materials to be able to paint on here. So what I'm going to do next is double click on my material. Let's just get this centered so we can see what's going on. So just about navigation, right click is my pan. I can zoom with my middle mouse and I can select with my left. So what I want to create first here is I'm going to right click and I'm going to type in landscape. And I'm going to go ahead to a layer blend. So what the layer blend is going to allow me to do, and what we're building here is a material that will have multiple textures associated with it. So then I can take this material and I can drag it into my landscape, and then I can proceed to paint with these materials. And to keep in mind is if you want more materials to be able to paint with, or more textures to paint with, you have to keep adding them into this material with the nodes. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over to details. And here under layers, array elements, I'm going to go ahead and click on my plus 3 times. And it's going to create 3 arrays. And what these are going to end up doing is I'm going to name these. I'm going to click on the little arrow there. And I'm going to call this one, we will call this cobble for cobblestones. And then my next one here, I'm going to open up and I will call this gravel. And I'm going to change my preview weight to 0.5. And this has to do with layering our textures. If you look up here, you can also see there's my cobble layer, my gravel layer. And if you didn't guess it, too bad, it's going to be grass. And I'm going to put this at 1. So now we have our grass, a gravel, a cobblestone, and we're going to go ahead and grab our textures now. So let me move this over a little bit. And now inside of I'll just move this off the screen so we can see it better. I'm going to go into my starter and I'm going to go to textures. And then we have a bunch of textures they give us with Unreal. So I'm going to look for some cobblestones. There they are. I just drag them right into my viewport there. Let's find some grass. Let me move this over a little bit more. We have some mossy grass, and we'll grab this grass, bring it over in there. And then we want some kind of gravel of some sort. It's here somewhere. There we go. There's some gravel. I'll drop that in here. Now let's bring this back open. Now, what's interesting about this is that you're going to have these 3, right? And we're going to take these nodes and set them up to our blend. This node here is what's going to allow us to have new layers inside of our paint system. So all I'm going to do here is grab the top of this RGB node, and if this is my gravel, and let me just switch these around a bit so they're matched up with the layer in which they're going to. So I have my cobblestone, that's at the top, so there we go. I'm going to drag that and just drop it right in here. My gravel will get dropped in there, and my grass will get put in here. Now the last thing I'm going to do is take the RGBs that are all in here, and I'm going to take it and from this node, drag it right to my base color. And we should get our texture. Okay, so now that we have a material, and I would tell you if I wanted to put normal maps and I wanted to put roughness maps, I would do this exact same thing. I would copy this over, which is and then add my textures to it and bring it to my metallic, specular, normal map, and so on. We're going to keep it really simple and just use the textures for now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, and then we'll move on to the next step of adding these to our texturing painting.